Hello Hero, it's Lucy Lannon back with another pick a card Marseille Mini using randomly generated words in the psychic tombola, this time from the letter I. If you want to comment anything after the letter J to add words to this dip, that's absolutely wicked, and I would prefer that you did, because I don't just want predictable stuff that I've put in myself. No proper nouns or profanities, but other than that, all is groovy. So if you can think of anything between K and Z that you would like a reading on, then pop it down below in the comments. Now, as for today, we're going to have 3 piles, which I'll shuffle in a moment. And like I say, a randomly generated word. We're also going to look at what house we're in using this D12. So that'll just get us a bit more specific than we have in former readings. And it'll be 5 cards long from the Viéville 1650 Marseille. Is there anything more on that? No. Right, let's look briefly at the things that are on the table today. No crystals, so there's no crystal diagnostic for you guys at the moment, but we do have fox spirit, all collected from roadkill, perfectly vegan, etc. Then we've got Saint Winifred, or if you prefer, the older land deity from the Welsh region that she is a screener for. We've got the Self Stone. It's been in the fire this week, so you may have been in the fire as well, a bit of a baptism by fire, or you might just be working on self-care and sitting by a lovely log fire or candle or something. We've got an astrological instrument because it looks fucking groovy, so you may be in astrology, you may not, but enjoy its golden glow. An evil eye, so you may have been doing protection or kind of banishing work from other energies. We've got the temperance necklace over here, barely visible, so moderation is key. But also, the big player this week is that bunch of cedar that I've been using for smudging. I'm just going to read a tiny excerpt, because I don't want to take too long, from Under the Witching Tree, right? Because I was told when I picked this out, names and colours, and this covers both. So, Western red cedar with her graceful draping green fronds. They are miniature braided tapestries that decorate the forests of the Pacific Northwest. Once giants of this land, the grandmother cedar is still abundant, growing in almost every lowland forest landscape among Douglas fir and western hemlock. Her shredded red-brown bark turns silver when exposed to the sunlight, just as a cedar-shake roof will do over time, silver like ocean driftwood. When wandering through the enchanted forests of this place, it's not uncommon to trip on cedar roots, and when exposed during the wet season, they become a bright magenta colour. Absolutely striking. So some of you are working with what? Silver, red, brown, magenta, etc. Then it goes on about her smell, which I don't think is relevant. And then red cedar has been called the mother, the giver of life by the native tribes of the misty fern-covered lands of the Pacific Northwest coast of America. In fact, some dialect names for red cedar translate into long life giver, rich woman maker, and mother. This is undoubtedly the most important tree, music agrees, of the Salish coastal groups. Though its habitat includes the Pacific Northwest coast, it's now naturalised in Britain, where it was planted as a timber tree, and both places have a maritime climate, which may be relevant, and Western red cedar certainly thrives in the rainy places of the world. So you may have been working with rain, with oceanic magics, with protection, using those particular things, and with grandmother or mother energy. In my previous readings, you may have been in my Baba Yaga piles, etc. But I was told to share that for some reason, so there we go. As far as music today, I'm enjoying like a bit of a psychedelic stoner vibe, despite the fact that I don't smoke. So we're listening to Swan Valley Heights. No copyright infringement intended. They're just good. So anyway, right, without further ado, let's get this show on the road, shall we? And we'll pick your piles as soon as I've laid this out. I have forgotten to mention the most important little nug on the table right now. Some of you will have noticed the little full moon in the centre. I'm not actually publishing this at full moon, although if it's full moon when you see it, just take that as an extra bit of confirmation for you. It may be, you know, your time, a good time, etc. The reason there's a full moon is that I took a little poll in a private group that I've got, which may go public, to see what kind of readings you guys would like coming up. Oop. We've got a leaper. Sorry gang, just a moment, there we go. see what kind of readings you guys would like. And some of you said lunation readings, so they will be coming up this month, and this moon in the spread, if you like, is partly to remind me to tell you guys to subscribe if you would like to learn about tree moons and to have a lunar forecast for each month, where we're looking at a 3-card reading for every moon phase, so that every few days you have a good idea of what to expect. And overall in a month you can kind of look at what to focus on, what to leave behind, what kinds of surprise issues may come up, etc. So if that's for you, then please do subscribe, ding the dong, thank you kindly. Share with any friends with strong lunar placements, Cancerian vibes, etc. I'd love to meet some of you. And I've rambled on enough, so let's speed up this shuffle, shall we? Okay gang, if you'd like to submit a word down below, by the way, I can't remember whether I said that, but anything between the letter K and Z is up for the lucky dip right now, so providing there are no proper nouns or profanities, suggest your words down in the comments. And we have pile 1, pile 2 and pile 3. Pile 1, hello, welcome. Let's get your keyword first, shall we? I is for interested. I can see where this is going, but let's have a look what house it's in. Whoop! Second house, okay. And let's grab your cards. Whoop! Okay. Damn. Somebody's wanting to be noticed, aren't they? Fuck me. They're on the floor. Oh, I hope you can't see the back of my head. There we go. That one, and just take the top one. Yes. Okay. Just a quick moment while I meditate on your cards. Let's get them centre, shall we? I'll be back in a jiff. Alright, pile 1, I is for interested. We've got a second house message for you, so it's to do with value systems, what you have, what it's perceived that you have, so material assets, but also what it's perceived that you value. Therefore, because this is a general reading and it can be for lots of different kinds of people, I'm going to do a love interpretation first and then like a work interpretation, because it's a strong money vibe, but then all the ones in this reading, here, here and here, make me think this is a fuck as well. Okay, so for those of you first who came here looking for an answer to a love situation, there is an interested party. They absolutely do want to get down. If that was your question, it's a fucking yes. But there's some kind of conflict here. I dare say a conflict of interest, but there's squabbles, perhaps even false accusations, a bit of like fighting between each other or stuff said behind each other's backs. And that's because in the recent past there's been a perceived injustice. I couldn't tell you which side this is on, but I suspect that whichever party is involved is feeling very kind of hurt that the other party is not what they thought they were. Now this is in a specific region because we've got this helping us out today, so this is absolutely to do with somebody who is cautious about getting involved with someone who isn't in the same world. I hate that expression, but it's there, it's out there. The value system of the current culture is fucked, what can you say? And this is very much in terms of like work accomplishments, the amount of bags someone makes, the amount that they flex online in terms of their financial achievements. It's basically like I broke a nail on coming back to this reading, and the phrase that I got in my head was, I'm not going to nail someone like that. So whether that's you saying it about somebody else or someone being particularly shallow and saying it about you, there is that application. And this guy in the middle in reverse indicates being shallow, being superficial, somebody who either wants a kind of, not arm candy in looks because that's not second house, but somebody who wants someone with what they see as exactly the same value system or the same kinds of career, being very cautious about being involved with someone who's not also an equal amount of influencer, or who doesn't make the same amount of money, or who didn't chase after the same things as them. And that's causing, whether it's like an overt squabble where you've actually fallen out, it's causing some kind of rift where this connection isn't going as fast as it should be going. Because with all these wands, at least on the physical level, there should be some momentum with this, right? And it should be creating something, it should be moving it into something, but it's not, and that's the injustice. This is also twofold because I think this person's perception of the other person is not entirely accurate at all, and we'll see that coming up with the kind of near future card, right? The person who is perceived of as, I hate this expression, but either having less value, we're all equal in this universe, it's complete bollocks, or just not having the same values, so maybe someone who wouldn't fit in with the other person's family, friends, work life, etc. The person that's been said about has worked hard, and they've achieved a lot, and they're actually, doing pretty well to be in the circumstances they're in, whether or not they're seen as what we would consider equal from this shallow dude's perspective, right? And apologies if you are the shallow dude. This is just me waking you up to the fact of listen, not everyone has to come from the same financial background as you, the same education level as you, the same career path as you, for them to be a valuable asset to your life, and indeed for them to be accepted by your close circle, your social media followers, your extended group of friends, you name it, it goes on, right? So there's this kind of imbalance between the two, which is, again, justice reversed is like the scales being tipped too far one way or the other. I don't think there's any, I don't think it's ill meant. I don't think this person hates this person. I think, if anything, aside from this particular obstacle that they're perceiving, they would absolutely want to carry it on. And they definitely more than fancy this other person. They are interested, right? That's why that's come up. Because we didn't want this to be an ambiguous reading in that sense. There is interest from both sides, but there's this kind of not seeing eye to eye. You see, they're not really looking at each other. They're both in reverse, so they're both blocked. One by their own perceptions, and the other by the fact that they can't change how they're perceived. But what's going on in reality, kind of underneath all of this and in the near future, is a sense of accomplishment, a sense of achievement. Like I say, this person has done very well to get to where they have, starting from the circumstances that they started from, right? So to them, their values are very in line. Their values are coherent with the life that they find themselves living, and therefore they have no shame in where they're at, be that in that kind of behavioural value system way, or financially, in status, etc. I suspect that this person is less status concerned than this other person, and that being a page, this person will grow the fuck out of it, to be quite frank, right? But at the moment, if you're this person, I would say keep doing what you're doing. You're doing extremely well. You're furthering yourself. You're being very creative. You're making progress in the world. Indeed, you're expanding the already great foundation that you were on, whether that's just being coherent, as we said with the self-care stone, sort of within your own values and doing right by yourself, or whether it's turning your value system into a career or into a facet of your career and making lots of money out of it. I get the feeling that you're doing great in all of that. You're the master of your own circumstances. You're indeed very skilled. So keep the fuck doing what you're doing, right? Also, you're very sexy with 3 wands cards turning up. As far as this person, like I say, they will grow out of it. Your decision, because these 2 cards sort of concern you more than they do them, is whether or not you just get on with your shit and wait for them to come back around, or whether you kind of, because remember that justice as like an archetype would be even higher than a king or a queen, right? Any gender. So it's kind of like do you want to wait for this person to grow up to your level, which is beyond even like adulthood at this point? It's just someone who's perfectly in their purpose and proper on it. Do you want to wait around for them, or do you want to carry on with your own shit, right? And they may come around, they may not. And it's your choice really whether you do sort of stick around and say, hey, you know, I too am interested sexually and I think you've got the wrong idea about me. Or whether you don't want to express that at all because it's kind of their fault if they're shallow and you just get on with your own thing. And eventually this person's connections that they think are very well thought out and deep, that are very egoic, that are very status based, will kind of fall away and they'll come crawling back to you, right? If you're not this person, if you're this person, it's saying that the person that you're interested in, particularly with this sexual magnetism, is really not what you think they are, and that the way that you've been perceiving them is an injustice, okay? So examine them closer. Look not just at their material life, at their impression online, at their outward signifiers of values, but actually at their value system, because I think that theirs will align with yours pretty perfectly if you give them half a chance. And again, there is strong creativity, there's collaborative energy, there's creative energy. You'd be very good together sexually. If you're not wanting to make a baby and you are het, be careful there, because there's a lot of dick in this reading, right? There's a lot of potency is what I mean to say, a lot of fertility. But yeah, it could be a very good thing, and I feel like you're hearing this today to say, give this person a chance, try and get out of the expectations of those around you, even if reliance on other people's expectations is part of how you make your money, and you have to move through certain circles in a certain way. I think it's still worth giving this person a second look. But overall, yeah, that's the love interpretation. Now, completely different. For those of you who are looking at a work situation, I see interpersonal squabbles on a project. I'm looking at something relatively creative, so you might be in creative media, the arts, social media marketing, that kind of a thing. But there's definitely, again, been an injustice. There may have been false accusations, particularly around you, based on the things that you're interested in. I see a person being stereotyped at work and their value system being presumed by the people around them because of the way they look, the way they present, the way they dress, the kinds of places that they've maybe name dropped as going to, the kinds of things they've said about friends and family, etc. So, I mean, the example that's coming into my head is you're in a very professional workplace and you are somebody who looks alternative, and you've maybe mentioned alternative spiritualities, because obviously you're on this channel, so you might be into that, around co-workers, and now you're getting a kind of squabbling, backbiting, false accusations, bias around your position to do with that. Just know that the people making these judgments are in the kind of shallow people corner. They're also pages, so I suspect that their position in the company isn't too high, and that anybody you're looking to actually be promoted by, or any clients that you're interested in kind of hooking in that are a little bit further along in their development, in their interests, and sort of align with more than one of the things that you offer, they're going to be seeing you in a very different way based upon your accomplishments, as aforementioned in the prior interpretation, rather than based on hearsay from colleagues, or just like stupid stuff like the way that you look. I'm seeing somebody who wears like vaguely occulty jewellery, or who has dreadlocks, or who, I don't know, just like maybe you forgot to take black nail varnish off and then you went into a meeting and now you're getting shit for it. Something like that. It may not be those things, but you know what I mean. It's like a judgment of your values that actually has nothing to do with your values. And I'm getting appearance-based or like status-based in terms of where you hang out, just because this links to the Taurian house, so it's very I have, which is like stuff we're wearing, stuff we're handing out, places we're seen at, rather than like your core nature, which is the flip side of this too, right? It's the graduation from the one, from the Aries sense of knowing self. If astrology means nothing to you, just take this as how you present is not who you are, and people have judged you on how you present and sort of deemed how acceptable you are, how qualified you are within the workplace based on those frankly fucking stupid judgments. That's not on you. I don't think you should change how you present. I think that in due time and in the recent future, in the immediate future, I feel like you will prove yourself and you will come out with stuff that this group of snarky people kind of don't expect from you, that will then prove to them that actually, again, you are valuable, you are an asset to this company. They should be interested in who you are and not just what you're interested in, right? So if that's you, just stick to your guns, mate. Honestly, you're fine. You're doing really well. I see that you are very adaptive and creative. And it's just that the people around you need to grow up a bit, okay? So keep on keeping on. If either of those interpretations were useful to you, please do like, subscribe, ding the dong power one, thank you kindly. Share with a friend that you think might be into these kind of readings. Comment a keyword down below if you fancy something that you think I may not have thought of. And hopefully I'll see you soon. Alright, general channeled messages for pile 1. Whether or not you picked this as your tarot pile, this is the message corner for you if you're into that. These will be cardless, so if that bothers you, then please do look at one of my other readings, because channel messages are not for everyone. Something going on with your teeth. I don't know whether it's that you've had dental surgery or you might need some, or something needs checking out there. Or for some of you, if a pet has been funny about their food recently, it's not something to do with their digestion, it's to do with their teeth, so get it checked out. I know it's a lot of money to take them to the vet, but you know, needs must in this situation. That's what's coming through. Also, this pile, the song is Take a Swim in God's Washing Machine. I don't think this is to do with God's washing machine. I think some of you may be swimmers or learning to swim. Some of you may be learning as an adult, which is something I'm also about to embark on. So Godspeed you, strong swimmer. I hope it all goes well. And if you're nervous about it, this is your message to say don't be. It's going to be all right. I think maybe your fears about it are because you've left it a long time, but you will be okay. And I think you'll even find it really good fun. So yeah. For some of you, there's a fear of water and you're kind of going back into the pool or back onto the beach, and it is the right time. It is a good move. Getting buzzing in my hand very strongly on that. So yeah, get back in, right? Don't be afraid to go back in the water. What else? Let me switch hands just for a sec. Excuse me. Squeaky chair, I apologise. I'm seeing the glitter on my hand that from the wrong angle looks like dirt, and then I'm hearing all that glitters isn't gold. So, for some of you, something that you're doing in your presentation to others, which again links to pile 1, it's not being received the way that you think it's being received. So I'm literally seeing someone covered in glitter who thinks that's really magical, as do I. But to people around you, excuse me, hiccups, it can be seen as quite childlike or quite inappropriate for the formal setting that you're in. Just be aware of that, be aware of other people's expectations of stuff. Not everybody is ready to be a magical, childlike, sprinkles from the outer limits kind of a figure. I know that's disappointing, I find it the same way, but yeah, you may not be coming across as you had hoped. It may not be glitter, it's just that something about your appearance physically is not coming across in the way you wanted. The alternative thing of that is the all that glitters isn't gold, where something or somebody is coming across as very sparkly to you. Again, this may relate to the love reading portion of pile 1's tarot. They're not that hot, like they're not that glittery. If you were the justice getting the page, you may have put this person on a pedestal, and I'm seeing that if you're in the channeled section as well as the reading, this is a heads up to say that person probably isn't for you, because their development to get to where you are and understand your value system as discussed, is not going to be within the time frame that you're wanting to meet somebody, right? They're not going to grow up and want to settle and want to see you how you should be seen, if you like, within the time frame that you're like waiting for a relationship. I'm seeing something else glittery and wonderful and magical coming in, actually, to sort of interrupt this process. If you feel like you've been waiting to be like seen by somebody who's very undecided about you, then trust me when I say that there's somebody coming for you who is not going to be undecided, and that is what you deserve, right? Just for some, not for everyone. This is general. What is that? I'm getting really strong buzzing in my middle finger. On the knuckle especially. Some of you have trapped your hand in a door. This isn't giving the finger to someone as it was in one of the other channels. What is it? Some of you have cut your finger because the next song up is My First Knife Fight. So there's like something about the accident on this finger. If that is you, whether or not you're a skeptic, look at old charts of either like hand meridians or I can't remember what it was called. Comment if you know, but the hands, the art that people used to use that wasn't palmistry, but it was for like hand and head reading, if that makes sense. Like the Victorian things where you had a mount of Venus and you had this and that. If you've cut yourself, particularly on your middle finger, there's something to that will tell you how to hone in on this reading and get more specific in terms of how it applies to you. And that's really specific, but I am reading for a lot of people. Excuse me, there is fluff in my little ring here, alerting me to opal, so some of you may want to work with that. And furry ring, God, as if I said that out loud on the internet, is like a vocal pun for fairy ring. So there's something here about a fairy ring. What is that? Right, okay, so it's literally that you're hearing it wrong, or you're saying it, hearing something wrong or saying the words wrong, and the product of that is fairy ring. All this is pushing me towards, if you've been working with something extra human, you know, fairy realm, mythical stuff, other beings, shall we say, from parallel or non-parallel worlds. I'm just going to leave it there because not everyone will be open to this. But if you've been making contact, right, there is something in the words that you're saying or the words that someone around that event is saying that is like a malaprop that you need to look into what it sounds like instead of what it is. Yeah? Or maybe some of the words that have been said to you in channeling or in communication with something, right? It's more about what you got the impression of than what the words actually were. So like, did they sound like another set of words? Did you see a certain thing in your head when they were said? Because that's more important than the message. And sometimes when you're working with contacts that are extra human, it's like about the other meaning, not the meaning that's like the literal translation, if you get me. Many of you won't follow that, it's just for magical practitioners, etc. But you had two things in your head when something was said or done, and it's the other thing, right? I hope that helps in some way. Okay, can we have something more mundane, please? Take the rubbish out. This can be literal, this can be, yeah, take the trash out. It's like, get rid of the shit in your immediate environment. Some of you, that can be connections. I don't like speaking about people in that way, but there's something, like the expression, let the trash take itself out, is coming up as like, that didn't work, so take the trash out yourself. As in, something's been off and on with somebody, or you suspect they're not for you, but like it's time to cut off from that now. It's time to, at least for now, put it on a back burner and concentrate on other stuff. But again, for some of you, this is a literal thing and you're just getting rid of crap in your environment, stuff that's carrying stagnant energy for you, stuff that reminds you of a time that you are not so fond of. And the next song is Teeth and Waves, and because we mentioned teeth and waves, I think that is end of transmission for you guys. Is there anything more? Something about bedhead for some of you. Like bedhead looks good, or if you're wondering what to do with your hair, or there's just something about bedhead. Maybe somebody else thinks that your bedhead looks great, I don't know. But bedhead. Anyway, Teeth and Waves is calling it, so we're going to move on to the tarot pile number 2. Pile 2, I is for ignorance. Interesting. And let's have a look what house this reading will be in. 3rd house, okay. Let's get your cards, shall we? Thank you. Are you this way up? No, you're this way, okay. We'll turn you over, I don't mind. Oh, interesting start. You want to come out, don't you? Who else have we got? Sorry if the camera is quivering a bit, that was my foot on the cable. Careful you don't stand on any cables, guys. If you've got any that are exposed at the moment, just pop them away, yeah? Same for those of you with rabbits, I'm hearing. Just make sure that no animals can get to those wires. And final card, please, for pile 2. I is for ignorance. Oh, all right. Is it this one? Wow, okay. Is this a clarifier? Yes, right. And we'll pop these away. Right, I'm going to meditate on these and I'll be back in a jiff. You won't feel the cut. Pile 2, I is for ignorance with the 3rd house. This is an interesting one, fairly straightforward. I think you're having a problem with a sibling at the moment. Whether or not they're like a step sibling or biological sibling or just someone that you go back long enough with in terms of living with them that they feel like one, that could also be an option. 3rd house is also to do with short trips, travel, etc. So if you don't have any brothers or sisters, this could be someone that you've travelled extensively with in the past, maybe an old flatmate that you went on a backpacking trip with or something like that. But it's certainly somebody that you've had recent altercation with, concerning equal give and take with this clarifier here. The overbearing sort of element of the reading is this Tower card, this lightning in this deck. So relations between you recently have been very thunderous. You may indeed have labelled this person as ignorant, or they may label you as ignorant because of what's gone on. There's also something sneaky, something shady or backhanded involved. If this is a sibling, they may have triangulated you with a parent or another sibling. They may have gone behind your back to say or do something really shifty. But there's certainly like an element of subterfuge in this. Or if you've got a sibling or somebody like that in your life who you feel has been lying to you, then unfortunately this reading delivers the news that yes, you are quite correct. It's something shifty has been going on. For some of you, this is just plain someone you live with now that feels like a brother or sister, whereas you may have had a different kind of relationship with them in the past, you know, so romantic or like a best friend thing. But now it's like you're getting at each other in the way that siblings would because of this 3rd house connection. But there's definitely been something sneaky, underhanded, kind of mean, snarky shit going on. Stuff behind each other's backs kind of vibe, right? I don't like it at all. Tower and 7 of Swords together are just nobody's finest hour, right? On either side. In fact, if it's up already, or if you're not subscribed, please do check out my competition Discord, What Makes You Different kind of a reading. It should be up by the point that I upload this, but an export with it has been quite problematic because it ran about 5 or 6 hours, and that means it takes about 12 hours on my tiny laptop to sort out for you guys. So if it is up, great, have a look for it and see. If it's not up, expect that in the near future, and do check out which pile you get there, because there are a few piles within that I think are dealing with this like sneaky shit on both sides kind of energy, or like somebody having the massive accusation of the other side being ignorant. It's sort of out of the scope of this reading really to say whether anyone is ignorant or whether you're just ignorant to each other's perspectives in a way that is quite unseen to both of you. Because the other thing behind a 3, when we're not viewing it as an astrological house, we're viewing it numerologically as the third outcome from a binary. So we're talking about one person having a very fixed idea, another person having a very fixed idea, and there being no real room to have that third point in the middle, yeah? So, yeah, a sibling, a neighbour, someone you've travelled with that thinks you're being ignorant or you think they're being ignorant, there's some sneaky shit going on, and really there's an opportunity to meet in the middle, but it's not being taken at the moment. This has been a massive burden on you particularly. I think you've probably found it very hard to deal with. There's certainly also an indecision about how to continue with this too. And it's almost like you're kind of sick of carrying the ignorance of this person or of other people in a broader sense, right? The reason this has been catastrophic when these are only minor cards in the situation, and it's not like I'm not saying it's not an important situation, but it's not a major one, right? It's not life-changing by itself, it's more of a spat. But the reason it's been so crucial for you as a person is that this isn't the first time that you've come across this particular brand of ignorance or this way of relating to you in a sneaky, underhanded fashion. This kind of betrayal is not unique to this person, so it's bothered you more than it would normally have in anybody else to do with any kind of other issue. And like I say, there is an underground current of reciprocity through this. There's somebody not pulling their weight, not doing their part, and you feel very cheated. It may even be that one of the sneaky things this sibling type figure has done is not paid you back for something, or locked you into a financial situation that's not that great, with it being pentacles. It's just not great, my dude. It's just not fun on any kind of level. And the underbelly of the reading actually is more of an address to you, which is, again, why I think my competition reading may be for you, because this is very heavily addressed in like an hour-long way in there. But the death reversed is like a change that we're not going about properly or that we're resisting. Something here is wanting to die off. You may have picked the channeled from pile 1 instead of pile 2, because there is trash that needs to be taken out here. And I feel like the reason that this is getting to you so much is not just because this other person has acted in a shitty way, but because you won't fully let go of them and let them do their own thing. And I think it's time for you to go in one direction and for them to go in another. Now, because for many of you I'm talking about family, that doesn't mean cutting off from them altogether. If they've pissed you off, I'm by no means saying, you know, cut off from family members who irritate you just the once or whatever. If it is a neighbour or something, that may be a good thing to do, you know, withdraw your energy. But if it's a sibling or someone you've had a longer standing connection with, as I suspect it is, this is more just like your time to separate from this person was a long time ago, and I don't think you're seeing it, right? I don't think you've explored it fully. And this is so catastrophic because of you resisting that change. But I think if you were to embrace, right, I'm taking my energy from you now, I'm taking my time away, and maybe not seeing you as often, etc., etc., their ignorance in the situation would not rub you up in the wrong way quite as much. It wouldn't bother you. With the short trip thing of the third house as well, the like travel holidays kind of vibe, not in as much of a questy long journey way as like a Sagittarian house, but certainly like this kind of quick flitting from one thing to another kind of a thing. It may be that you want to literally, excuse me, I'm dropping things like flies at the other side of this reading. You may kind of want to take a short trip away, stay with a friend. You might want to just get away from the immediate environment if you're trapped with this person. Go stay at someone else's house, go take a weekend away with a work opportunity that you were like weighing up as to whether to go. Something like that to sort of kill this off properly so that when you come back you can address the dynamic from a refreshed place. Yeah, and I think this will help with this indecision as well, because I don't think you are indecisive. I don't think they're indecisive. I don't even think they're going to change their mind. But I do think that having a breather from this person for a short amount of time will release the burden of the situation just a little bit, will remind you of what give and take actually looks like in a healthy version of this dynamic, and will stop you from feeling that they are ignorant, or indeed displaying your own ignorance if you were really drawn to what I said about the competition reading, right? Please do go watch that. So yeah, that's what I'm getting for you, pile 2. If it did resonate for you, let me know down in the comments. Please post a keyword for future piles if you're interested. Like I say, K to Z is available. If you enjoyed it, please like, subscribe, ding the dong, thank you kindly. You can book with me down below, you can donate down below, and I'd very much appreciate it because this is my sole income. Or if not, just share with somebody else, and I hope to see you soon. Catch you later. Pile 2, channel messages. I noticed this was quite a swift tarot pile, or I felt like I was rambling, and the song by contrast is Slow Planet. So there's themes going on for you of like fast, slow. It feels like you might have been going really fast with something and another person in your life is going at snail's pace, or vice versa, where they're accusing you of like being too slow with something and you're feeling pressure to speed up. Just know that meeting in the middle is the better option for that. It's not that you are too fast or too slow, or that this person is. It's a case of like entering into a conversation where you address that both of your energies are being at the wrong speed, right? So if they're rushing you along with a project or something, now is the time to say, listen, I can do this a little faster, but you need to accept that the result may be slower than you want. Or if it's like the other way, then, you know, address it in the other version of that. But there's certainly like fast bumping up against slow right now with this. And words running away from me as well. So like, if you feel that you've had to express yourself about something crucial, take your time with it. Be slow about it. It's okay to mull over your words a little bit more. Even if there is pressure from somebody else in your life to speak up or to deliver the results of a project really quickly, like so far as you are able within the deadline, do try and slow it down, have a think about each of the words that you're using, right? And hydrate as well, because I'm getting like dry mouth, as though you might be nervous or like rambling on, or I've been rambling on or something. Like it's something like that. It's fast with slow. Okay, let me switch hands. Excuse me, squeaky chair. I promise you it's not rude noises. Okay, what else? I'm seeing a part of my ring that says force. So, what is that? Is that to be more or less forceful? Okay, to be more forceful. This actually vibes well with the tarot reading for this pile, but if you've been wondering how to handle a particular situation, the answer is forcefully. It's okay to be, to give a situation a little bit more chutzpah than you might do, or than is characteristic for you. I'm not saying take things by force. I'm not saying be like forceful in the excess, and I'm certainly not saying use physical force in a situation. But being more demonstrative than you're used to is perhaps a good thing, or communicating in a very direct way with somebody involved for the issue that you've kind of come to talk about, or that's come up for you. Yeah, use force, right? Don't beat around the bush with stuff. Particularly if you did get the tarot for this pile and you're dealing with the other person that is this like ignorance fight. I don't think you should mince your words. I don't think you should encourage argumentative stuff with this person because they're quite volatile at the moment. but certainly you can be more forceful than you might do and stand your ground and be steady in your position, because I think it's quite important. I think if you've got this channeled and this pile together, the issue that we're talking about is crucial to you. So it's okay to speak in a way that is more forceful than you are comfortable with. That's the thing. Yeah. For some of you, you may be on the force, in which case, hi. I think it probably is your first time to my channel, or I just haven't sort of had dialogue with you, but there's something here about being proportionate to the ignorance of others, because again, it spoilers, but Pile 2 was eyes for ignorance, in terms of how you use physical force within the parameters of your job, right? So don't let your personal anger about the genuine injustice of a situation mean that you are more forceful in your practice than you should be. Actually, that's a broader message. That's not just to anyone viewing this who is in the popo, right? This is, generally speaking, yes, use more force than you might if the previous message hit, but don't be out of proportion. And certainly if you're in a position of physical power, don't use that against somebody else. Just be extremely expressive and articulate. And for that might be why you're being told to slow down and figure out what you want to say in the way that we covered earlier, yeah? Because words are your power in this. It's very swordsy energy. It's not like one's force, it's the force of delineation between one concept and another. Which used to be martial energy, by the way, as well, but it's now, you know, it's now taken more as in a kind of intellectualization. Alaska is the song as well. That may be significant for some of you. Okay, what else? Let's get past this. Isn't there a book or something called Power versus Force? I feel like that it might be on like Manifestation or something. I'm not going to say it's a good book because I can't remember ever reading it or what I thought, but the title Power versus Force is coming up, so you might want to look into it, or that might be something you're reading at the moment. I feel like it had like an energetic hierarchy of emotion. That's not really my paradigm, but if it works for you, that might be the next thing to use in your manifestations. So yeah, Power versus Force for some of you. Again, I can't speak to whether it's good or not, I'm just getting the name. Oh, for some of you it's literally use the Force. I spoke in the tarot for Pile 2 about another reading that I've posted to do with competition and what differentiates you from it. If you're getting this message as well, you might be in my Force pile, my Star Wars pile, because that's a cartomancy reading where I use a Mandalorian deck. So if you jive with that, then please do check out that. If I remember and if it's uploaded, I'll link it in the comments. What else? For some of you, you're either watching or I'm being told to ask you to watch the trailer for Colossus, the 4-bin project. Fantastic fucking movie about World War through the perception of supercomputers, but it was made in the 1970s, I think, and it's got all of the tropes that you would expect for that. It's fucking hilarious. So please do go check out the trailer for Colossus or watch Colossus, because it's relevant to something else that you're doing. I don't know whether that's like in a narrative sense or in terms of world events or aesthetics or what, but something about it is going to be very much for you, Pile 2. So again, I'll link that down below. I'm shaking, and it's like an energetic flow through as to the reason I'm shaking. And because I said Power versus Force, I want you to examine very carefully how you're using your power at the moment. I nearly said losing your power, which is interesting. Because there could be like a loss of status for some of you. Maybe you came from Pile 1, but there could be a dethroning, dare I say, if you misuse power in the situation that you're in, right? Again, for those of you on the Force, that may that may resonate, but there's something to do here with like personal power versus personal practice, leaving you in a position where privilege can be taken away. I'm thinking badge revoked, etc. Again, that may not be for everybody, but it's that metaphor, right? And I'm seeing this sort of glowing, this third eye, this evil eye pendant kind of buzzing at me in its own colour. So its own colour is interesting. Some of you are like reading about non-colours like magenta and octarine and stuff. But either way, it's like protective measures that are, the phrase vulgar display of power is coming up, right? Some Pantera fans maybe, going to the reunion tour or whatever. But there's something in that, right? There's something about power versus the proportionality of the cause. And that can be verbal power as well if you're non-violent. Something about the way you're seeing a situation as well, because of the lyrics that I just heard. You need to step back and take a different perspective of this. Perhaps the perspective of those who may have it in their power to revoke yours. Wow. Big issues for Pile 2, come on. Let's have something a bit more down to earth, shall we? Just one more message, please. Some of you have been working with like pan or something woody and horned, and I'm smelling pine right now. Obviously the cedar stuff in the beginning may fit in, but this is more of a masculine energy. Not describing you, but describing whatever you've been working with is like leaning masculine. Although I am reminded that pan was both actually, as was Baphomet, which is another sort of horned energy. But yeah, something pine scented, horned, horny maybe. There's like satyr vibes. It's a lovely sort of fawny, crispy, dark, smoky, wood scented thing. For some of you, that may just describe like you've bought a cologne or a perfume or something recently that smells like that, or you've made something with essential oils that's very woody. Please tell me about it in the comments, because I can smell it and it's magnificent and I want some. But for others, it is that you've been working with like a deity associated with these things in terms of correspondence. And my association with the Forbin project actually is a specific shade of deep green, which looks like pine smells. Synesthesia bites me in the ass again, right? As does colour obsession. But for some of you, like, you'll be hitting on that and going, yeah, nodding your head. So that's your message there, I guess. Also bronze and like deep greens. God, it's really succulent. I love this energy. Get on that woody vibe. Fuck yeah. Anyway. Right, I'm going to leave you to that, whatever it is. Please let me know. Again, if you liked, click like, hit subscribe. Book with me down in the comments if you want further detail on anything mentioned. And I hope to see you soon. Pile 3. I is 4. Let's have a look, shall we? I is for investigation. Interesting. And it's in the 8th house. My. Prompted to tell you before we begin that if we're talking 8th house and we're talking investigation, for those of you in the private group who voted in the poll for sex detective readings, as in your next lay, I absolutely will be bringing that out soon. So if you're not subscribed to the channel already and you're seeing this, please do sub and click the bell so that you're notified when I publish that. But let's have a look, shall we? This may be even like a mini version, we'll see. Excuse me. Or excuse you, should I say. Come on. I is for investigation. Come on. That's because I decided what the reading was before it came out. They get a bit pissy sometimes, I tell you. Okay. Yeah, I'm seeing more of what this is about now. 2 more, please. Thank you. Are they both together? This one is, this one isn't. Way to be clear, guys. Come on. One more. Root, please. Thank you. Do we have a clarifier? Yes, we do. Get to the top then. Who's the top one? This guy. Okay. Your clarifier. Interesting. Strength reversed. Right. I'm going to meditate on this. I'll be back in a jiff. You will not feel the cut. Right, gang. I'm back. 3 interpretations for this one. But 2 of them are kind of sex-based, I guess. So we're going to start with the one that completely is not, because I know you horny bastards can wait, right? And wait you should with this strength in reversed, right? We need to master our carnality, some of you more than others. So, the first interpretation of the investigation theme in the 8th is that some of you are waiting on something like probate for an inheritance, or something to do with assets from somebody else being investigated, being dealt with. This isn't to say that someone has passed away that you don't know about. If you're receiving this reading, you are fully aware of proceedings and what is going on. But there's something to do with like taxes, insurance, inheritance, something that's in like shared resources, pooled money, if you like, maybe even like benefit stuff for some of you, but mostly I'm getting like big money that is either something that used to belong to somebody else or something that you're entitled to, which is being shuffled around from bits of the system to other bits. So we're talking a long-winded legal proceeding that is about you getting what it is that you're entitled to. And the wheel of fate here, or the wheel of fortune, is telling me that this has been a process that you've been looping around and around for a long time, maybe sending off variations of different documents. I feel you if that's the case. I'm currently in a long process of something similar, trying to get like certain names of people spelt right on certain forms and all that sort of bollocks, right? So if that's you, the investigation here is pretty much complete. Looking into your circumstances or somebody else's is just about up. And the reason this is in the 8th is, like I say, because it's about shared resources, about inheritance, about money that comes from the collective as opposed to money that you're earning for yourself, or money that is individually kept or that you are straight away entitled to. So again, I feel less that this is like a government thing, because that's individual entitlement, and more like it's money from a court case, money from an inheritance, something like that, right? Anyway, so we've had the Wheel of Fortune. It's been a long drawn out process, many sacrifices, many times that you felt pulled under by the cyclical nature of this and sort of crushed by, well, is it ever going to happen? With the 8 of Pentacles here, it's been slow and steady and been done bit by bit, and every stage has probably been excruciating on the waiting end. But I'm here to tell you that the heartbreak in the middle is over. The Page of Wands is actually not related, but there's some kind of creative or entrepreneurial or maybe even sexy offer that's going to come in that is your cue that within the same week that this happens, this money, this inheritance, this legal investigation or whatever is going to be done with, and you're going to be able to move on. And then from that sort of meagre offering of creativity, we're going to fully graduate to the King of the same suit. So you're going to feel like it's almost as if like there was never a state where you were without this. There was never a period of lack. So for my manifestors, my living in the end people, it may have been an arduous thing. You may have been cycling around old belief systems, but trust me when I say that when this comes in for you, as signified by whatever this page is, you're going to almost feel like you can't remember what it's like to be without it, right? I had an interesting conversation with someone recently about manifestation as sort of on the metaphor of complementary colours, where, for example, if purple is poverty mindset and gold or yellow is like abundance mindset, when you're in purple, even if you can look out of the purple window and imagine what yellow looks like, or imagine that the object on the other side of the glass is yellow, it's still purple glass, right? You're still looking at everything through lack. And what I feel here is like almost the flip of that, where you've managed to get to your goal financially from this stuff coming in, and you kind of can't remember what it was like before this, or how bad you felt when all of this was going on, and all of it was still in progress, investigation sort of pending. Some of you, if you're like in a job where you protect other people, you may have picked the channel for pile 2, because I'm seeing like an investigation into conduct as well. But just know that like the solution is coming in soon. It will be signified by a new creative opportunity happening unrelated at the same time. So like if somebody hits you up and says, hey, do you want to do this musical project or this art project or something like that, on the same day, you're going to hear about whatever this is finally coming into fruition for you. And the strength reversed is just to say, like, you won't need to be strong about this anymore. You won't need to be patient. You won't need to be like master over your frustrations about how long this has taken, because it will just be in place. Okay, so that's for those of you for whom this was a non-sexy reading. Now let me get to the two groups of miscreants. For some of you, and I hope this is a small number just because of the nature of it, but you never know, there has been a professional investigation into your sex life, either in the workplace or affecting the workplace. Am I right? So for some of you, you've been getting jiggy in public when you shouldn't have. For others, you've been involved in something with a colleague and there is an investigation kind of over your heads at the moment. I'm seeing these two people trapped in the wheel while there's a angelic overseer that looks very intimidating to both. But there's something anyway that has affected your professional practice, but is of a sexual nature. And the reason I say that is that we're in 8th house, i.e. sex, right? We're in one's territory, i.e. dick. So any gender, it displays the sexual vibe. And we're in strength reversed, which can be about overcoming impulsivity, maybe being master over your own temptations, addictions, etc. Some of you have been caught watching porn at work. Some of you have been caught, dare I say, downloading inappropriate material on group computers, etc., etc. You do you, but you should know probably not to do that by now. You don't need me to tell you, because you're being investigated. And I imagine that it's been an arduous process with this wheel of fate, right? You feel like your fate rests in how other people interpret this. And with it being an angel at the top overseeing this stuff, and with you kind of sticking your neck out to go, oh fuck, what is going on? You may feel that the person doing the investigating is pious enough that you will be in the shit for this, right? You may also have got somebody else kind of penalised or in trouble or something like that, because I'm seeing this, I don't know whether it is, but I'm seeing it as like a rabbit, which is both someone who fucks like crazy and somebody who is simultaneously represented as very quiet, very innocent, very good-hearted. So it's like their only crime was fucking and you feel like you've got them in the shit for this. Good news, right? You've been working very diligently knowing that this is hanging over your head. You've been crossing your T's, dotting your I's, being very careful about your conduct ever since, possibly for a period of months. I'm seeing 8 months for some of you. And as a result, the heartbreak around the situation is flipping into its reverse. You don't need to grieve the loss of a job. You don't need to worry about this anymore. Yes, it's come across as quite childish and dick first that you've got yourself into this. It's been inappropriate for the workplace because the page is an immature figure, and what he's presenting here doesn't have to be the apparatus that you're dealing with, but it's quite literally like cock out, right? So I think it's like, yes, some people may have seen you naked, or they may have seen that you're thinking with that, you know, irrespective of what junk you have, as I said. And it's like you're feeling foolish about this, but the undercurrent for the reading is the king of the same suit. So again, any gender, you have the chance, continuing with this diligence, to work your way up to the same professional standing that you had before or better. You have the chance to be the master of your own profession, your own domain. If you're working solo and this is like a reputation issue, then I feel you, because I've had way more minor things of a vaguely similar nature happen for me. Rumours being spread about me that are inappropriate in that field, etc. And trust me, when you're your own brand, these things can be very costly, even if all they come from is the bitterness of another person. So yeah, like I get it, but you can raise yourself to the stature that you've been seeing in your mind when you thought about taking on this position, taking on this career. The song that just ended was Mammoth, so this is like, you felt that this was a mammoth undertaking, but I actually feel, because this song is Let Your Hair Down, this will be easier than you think to kind of get back into the swing of things professionally, to come across as somebody who is in that King of Wands energy, is very dynamic, very dominant, very forthright, can lead a team very well. Maybe you can come across as bossy, so be careful of that if your reputation is already at stake. But certainly, even if you came across in whatever this is as the Megadon, which is the shadow of the king, that can be sort of flipped into like, yes, I dominate, but only professionally, my guys. You know, it's kind of, you can turn it around, you can make a joke of it, which is also a very fire sign quality. And you can be seen to be the master of your own impulses, the breaker of your own addictions, somebody who, despite this blip, has been working very hard for a very long time. Whether or not you do this pending the result within the same field, whether you're too embarrassed to look this person in the eye that's been investigating your conduct, is up to you, my dude. But I do feel that you can regain the position that you once had with due care and attention. Just remember not to think with your dick or your pussy or whatever it is that you're playing with the next time round. Third interpretation, for those of you who are my horny crew but have not got yourself into a precarious situation in that fashion, good on you, by the way. Middle interpretation of pile 3, you should be ashamed, son. But there is a situation for some of you that has gone on for a very long time. Again, you may have been watching plenty of tarot readings on this. It is like more of a sex-based connection or situationship I'm seeing, because it's in the 8th and not the 7th. One would think that if it was a lifetime soulmatey kind of deal, it would be more of a 7th house connection, more Libran in scope instead of Scorpionic, which is where we're dealing with. But certainly you may have been watching tons of readings on it, and they're all saying the same bullshit, which I know you hate to hear. Right timing, right? It's fucking irritating. I know it myself. My particular right timing is taking between 2 and 6 years, depending on how you view the thing. And yeah, I get it. It's something I'm not going to say to you here. But that's because, believe it or not, you're almost there. And I just heard the song in my head, believe it or not, I'm walking on air. So for some of you, there may be a real release to hear, like, oh, thank fuck it's coming in. Whatever grief, whatever personal work you had to do on yourself, or whatever getting over the ex the other party had to do to bring this situation in, is now over with. They are in the process of investigating you further in a proper way, having dropped their baggage. They are about to offer you the D or the V or whatever it is that they can offer. And that's because, again, you've been just kind of waiting. Because when it's not a work-based card, this 8 of Pentacles can be about due diligence, just sitting it out, just hearing the message of right timing and being like, cool, okay, I can maybe stay single for this person, or I can put the work in to just like be what I need so as to be what they need, right? Because we can't do one without the other. But whatever it is, it's paying off. Their investigation of you is covering all your different facets. So the kind of absent card from this is the Page of Swords, which you may be getting in other readings if you are, like me, a reading addict. You may be seeing that they're spying on you, that they're liking your posts without directly DMing you, etc., etc. They're just checking you out. They're just making sure that you're not going to break their heart with this 3 in reverse. And I think that that's fair, that investigative process is because this person is perhaps not as sexually open as you, or if they are, they've had recent dodgy sexual experiences, so they weren't wanting to leap in with somebody that they couldn't be sure of. But I feel like with this clarifier, they have developed trust in you. They see you as somebody very in touch with higher mind, I guess, like very, you're in charge of all of your faculties. You are, again, dominating over everything that may have held you back in the past. You may be dominant in your energy and this person likes this, but they wanted to be sure that that's what they want. Maybe they're more of a sub in the past or more of a bottom energy, and they just wanted to check you out and see whether it would be sexually compatible with you as well. Again, I'm seeing this person kind of looking over here at the prospective partner bit of this wheel, like, is this what I want? Are they a completely different animal, or are they cool? But the angelic stuff coming in that was saying right timing, as you can see, is punting this connection into the turning of the wheel. Venice and gondolas is coming up. If you're thinking of having a trip with this person, that would be a good move. But they're kind of moving this connection on quicker than they would have. Maybe they used to collect people and you're wanting to be on a more individual basis with them, less of a player vibe, and they're just checking that out. But when their investigation of you finishes, they're going to make you a very sexual offer, and from that point it's going to be a very quick process, right? Excuse me. So many hiccups. That may be how you've been feeling, actually. I mean, it's something I get when I'm channeling, but you may have felt like this has been one hiccup after the next and you've never quite gotten together. But I'm seeing that imminently this is going to take place. You're going to be with them. It's like from the second that they offer themselves to you, it's going to be very quick. It's going to be very hard. It's going to be very fast. It's going to be very satisfying, FYI. If you want more of a sexual reading, like I say, do subscribe because they will be coming up soon. But yeah, I just think that they're almost done investigating you. It's going to happen soon. And just enjoy it, pal 3. So, if you enjoyed that reading, please hit like, subscribe, ding the dong, thank you kindly. If you want to book with me for more detail on sex, more detail on your finances, your spirituality, anything at all really, the link is down below. There's also a PayPal donation button down there if you think that this was decent and you want to just throw me something, because this is, the way I make my money. And if not, please share with your friends, and I hope to see you soon. Take care. Okay, pal 3, channeled message. First up, some of your cards were backwards, right? So, for many of you, you're feeling discombobulated, you're feeling like your socks are on odd sock-wise, you may have put your clothes on back to front, your coat inside out, which is only useful if you're dealing with fairy. There's just like a general kind of feeling, like that thing of where are my keys, and they've been in your hand the entire time. That kind of energy is happening right now, in which case just slow down, calm down. The song is let your hair down, right? If that's applicable, please do. In a literal sense as well. There's a feeling of needing to calm yourself, and certainly if you followed on, shifting, if you followed on from the tarot reading from pile 3, there is this sense with all of the interpretations of that pile that the wait is almost over, the stress is almost over, it is time to chill now and just receive. So get into that receptive energy. If you feel drawn to any of my other readings, a lot of them are about getting into the receiving state, about becoming more open to attracting in the things that you desire. So please do click on any of those that you see fit. But if not, what else are we getting? There's a Victorian vibe here. So you may have dominant Taurus, but actually what I'm getting for it, and it vibes with the lunation stuff there as well, is that whenever the moon passes through Taurus this month, if you are magically inclined, that's the time to do your stuff. If you're a manifester, it's the best time to do your divination for some of you. Manifestation was what I meant to say, right? So do look in your ephemerides as to where the moon is moving through Taurus. In fact, you know what? Fuck it, I'm going to look it up for you. So if you're seeing this live, I want to help you out. 2 seconds. I'm seeing the like pink powder that's on this little fox head that I've got. So I'm seeing it as like paint or coloured powder. So for some of you, you've just celebrated, oh God, what is it? Brain. Sorry guys, I had a stroke a few years back and sometimes I just can't come up with the word. But the beautiful festival that is about colour and brightness and light, and people run through the streets and chuck coloured powders at each other. Oh God, I'm really sorry how disrespectful it is that I'm describing this and I can't think of the word. But please comment down below if you know the word, or I will comment if I think of it. Yeah, but anyway, it might be that festival or that season for you, or you might be dealing with pigments, particularly magenta, because that's a very deep pink I'm seeing. There was also something, wasn't there, in cedar info about stepping on cedar twigs and them being exposed inside as magenta. So there's like, there's something there about the magenta underneath, or magenta is a very fascinating colour because it's the colour out of space, literally. And I don't just mean in the film adaptation, I mean like in terms of colour qualities. We don't see it, we kind of make it up. It's a really weird colour science-wise. We sort of shove it together from what we know about the violet end of the spectrum and the red end of the spectrum, because it's not something that we see in quite the same way. I mean, the way we perceive all colours is weird, my dude. I will be releasing content on this, possibly a course, I don't know. But colour is a very, there's a reason it's so magically charged, right? It's a very eerie technology by itself, and magenta is a particularly good demonstration of that. So I'll try and link a video about how weird magenta is down below, but if I forget, do look into the science behind magenta and magenta perception and how that's led into myths, stories, etc. that involve the strangeness of it as a colour, the fact that it is a colour out of space, with it appearing on a fox head as well. Foxes are about sneaking between things, threshold magic, tricking people by being neither one way or the other, cunning, all of these things that do also relate to colour in relationship to threshold, to the liminal, and to glamour. So all of these things might be intersecting for you, in which case, again, subscribe, watch this space, because when I do more colour content, I will be talking about that. If you want a mini version of that kind of a stuff, I also do like colour readings for personal glamour, or glamour in the literal and the witchcraft sense, right? Or kind of magic to do with colour perception. So those may be for you. They're in the paid readings down below. What else? Mountain. Song is mountain. What else? I'm seeing an image of a coaster that I was looking at that's in the, I can't think what park it is because brain again, but it's the theme park near Mount Fuji. It might even be a roller coaster that's named after Fuji in a way or something like that. But I'm seeing the roller coaster go up the track really slowly, and I'm feeling like the nervousness of the POV that I watched, because I'm rubbish and I watch coaster videos because I can't go on coasters, so that may apply to some of you. But I'm seeing the kind of slow ascent. And in the last channeled message, we had something about slow and fast. So for you guys, you may be vibing with that, but this is a slow in order to speed up, right? It's different from, with them, it was more about moderation between being too fast and too slow with something. With you guys, it's more about, yes, the movement has been extremely slow. The crawl, the climb upwards is like a snail's pace and has left you feeling more and more nervous about the thing. But it's about to go, right? It's about to descend into the full ride and go at phenomenal speeds, right? Breathtaking speeds. Again, if you pick the tarot pile for this group, that will particularly vibe with you. But for anybody watching, this is just a message where, like, if Mount Fuji specifically isn't hitting somehow in some imagery around you or something, then, like, if you've been going slow or impatient about something, expect to go real fucking fast suddenly in the near future. Okay, what else? Excuse me, squeaky chair. I'm seeing the spiral of the horn that's on here, and I'm also seeing the coaster track spiraling as well, so it's like looping down into something. That is making me think of the Divine Comedy, and in particular the Inferno. So for some of you, you're studying Dante, or you want to pick it up again, or there's something to do with like layers of hell, choirs of angels, maybe even ranks of demon for some of you that's like vibing at the moment. But it's that pattern. Some of you, my feminine by birth, you're thinking of having a coil inserted, and I'm being told that's a good move. I don't know, man. I can't advocate it from a medicinal perspective or medical perspective, but it's that coil pattern is coming up. So, or you may be listening to coil or something like that, but yeah, ignore that if it's not for you. But this shape is really important somehow. Whether it's Divine Comedy, the coil, descending down into something, coasters, something like that. Yeah. Or maybe even a painting for some of you where you're like doing a cross section in a V. I don't know. It's kind of strange, but whatever it is, like, let me know in the comments, because I'm interested in why it was like a physical structure that I got as a message with little to no detail about what that structure was, if that makes sense. For some of you, it's an ice cream cone, and you're eating while you watch this, in which case, enjoy your ice cream. What flavour is it? Oh, I don't know. I've just noticed as well, like Fox wanted to be here, but there is a Fox on here, so whether or not you got the magenta message, Foxes are vibing for you. I'll link also the Russian on here, or the Cyrillic at least, is vibing. I'll link something about Foxes. It may or may not be Jordana Van, because I think she's the best in the biz. But if she hasn't done Foxes yet, it'll be someone else. Also the name John, because it's John something on here, on the writing. Maybe the J is for will follow on from this in a way that's relevant to you, whether or not you're a J. I'm getting the letter D as well, because it says D and then there's a gap. So J is for or D is for, maybe the other ones in this series that you want to watch, if you've been wondering, or if you're watching this on a playlist and you just randomly clicked on it. In which case, hi, hope you stick around. What else? Oh shit, you know what? I didn't turn the light on for this entire set of readings. Normally I have this burner on with its little lamp that changes colour. And I also don't have a candle on today. And I meant to say at the beginning, it's because we're bringing our own light, because I'm feeling particularly perky today. There's lots of things going well for me. So because I've just noticed this again now, I feel like for this group, you are particularly bringing your own light. You are my light worker pile, or you're just feeling really good about yourselves at the minute, to the point where you don't need to rely on something external to give you that, not validation, but that boost, like that upping of your vibration. It's like you've already mastered how to do that for yourself in a really useful way. I get the feeling that my third pile in a lot of these readings is like more upbeat and in some ways more, the word isn't competent because that's doing my other piles down, but you're more sure of yourself than my other piles a lot of the time. It's interesting how these number patterns follow. So maybe that you want to pick pile 3 and a few other things, I don't know. But yeah, you're bringing your own light to the situation. With this being a protection thing on it as well, it's like, if you've been looking into protection magics, and even dare I say Malefica recently, just know that you bring your own protection with you. So if you have a team of allies, physical or non-physical, they're doing it for you right now. Or you're just kind of bringing... What I'm seeing is one person in armour and the other person in like an astronaut suit, like a spacewalking suit, walking side by side, holding hands. And it's like both of these people are so sort of charged that they're already wearing armour they wouldn't need to defend against anything else, if that makes sense. So it may be that you and either someone you're interested in or like a spiritual ally or something, you're both like, you hit this town armoured up already and you bring your own light and you will be the light source for other people or something. But it's like a duo that are like this, and one of them's, because it's armour and a spacesuit, it's like one of you is old school and one of you is really new school or futuristic. There might even be an age gap, but like, you're both coming prepped, right? You're entering it as badasses. It's almost like this music that I'm hearing is like your intro music. Yeah, it's a really nice vibe. I like it a lot. But there's like a modernization of the old as well. There's a Renaissance man or woman feeling to it, where the combination of this night energy and astronaut energy would be this really interesting Gilliam-esque thing in the middle that sort of combines old and new. And that is totally in a way that I'm very about, by the way. Like, if that's your vibe, comment, and I'd love to know you, because I love archaic things with futuristic things kind of blending together. You may already have figured that out from this channel, but yeah, it's that vibe in this sort of visuals that I'm seeing. But yeah, you bring your own light either way. It's really nice. For some of you, this is like a parent-child thing as well, where they're the new school to your old school, but both of you have the same vibe and you're both very protected. And yeah, with those drums, that's it. Thank you, Pal3. If you want to like, subscribe, ding the dong, thank you kindly. I would really appreciate it. Also, if you want to donate to me, this is my sole income and I'd very much appreciate that too. But if you're not feeling that for the moment, please just do share with anyone that you think would enjoy this channel, and I hope to see you soon. Take care.